increases the number of risks which now companies have to manage, and it's important to
100% of executives and board of directors and CFOs and in companies, and you ask them what is digital transformation, they will tell you digital.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Actionable ESG Talks Series brought to you by AKFI, Actionable Knowledge Foundation Institute, the world's first nonprofit industry consortium committed to bridging the gap between ESG, sustainability, and digital transformation. And the goal of Actionable ESG Talk Series is to bring together great minds from the world to together discuss the current state, also the future state of the ESG, sustainability, and digital transformation. Today, I'm very delighted to be here with our guests, Manuel and Anatoli Levine. Manuel is the Executive Director for AKFI, which is a nonprofit bridging the gap between digital transformation and ESG. He's also a facilitator and instructor at Cornell University for Sustainability, Digital Transformation, Innovation, and 5G. He also leads multi-$100 million M&A negotiations and integration, sales support, and strategic planning consulting projects. The next guest is about Anatoli. Anatoli is the co-founder of the AKFI. With more than 20 years of experience in the technology and communication industry, Mr. Levine is also has been serving for over 11 years as the President of IMTC, which represents International Multimedia Communications Consortium, which is a nonprofit global organization that promotes interoperability of open standards for unified communications, content delivery, and IoT/machine to machines. So, thank you again. Welcome both. Hi, Manuel. Hi, Anatoli.
Hello.
Hello, Isabella.
Happy to be here.
So good to see you both. We're definitely not strangers. So to start today's talking, I'd like to ask both of you, what brought the two of you together to create this nonprofit AKFI, and what do you hope to achieve as co-founders?
Maybe I start.
Sure.
First thing, we have a long time friendship and experience in the business of forums, industry consortiums. As you mentioned, Anatoli had been for a long time the president and the operations of IMTC. I've been in the IMS forum, as well as I participated in what was called the DSL forum, and today is the broadband forum. And I think there was a point where when COVID started to realize that there is a need for a platform, there is a need for a point where companies can make quick exchange of information, not transfer knowledge to action, and come up with rapid plans. And that put the base for our foundation. But I leave it to Anatoli to add.
Well, yes, as we had our what was it? Every few weeks we would talk, right? And when before COVID, I mean, just in general, just to keep abreast of what each one is doing and so on. And then when COVID started, and the overall response was so sporadic everywhere. Everyone was coming up with new rules every week, what to do, how to manage all this now remote workspace, and how to manage, what are the safety procedures, what is this, what is that, and so the response was globally was all over the place. Everyone is inventing new things every time, and we thought that maybe there is a better way. Maybe there is a better way to really collect information, process information, and learn, and find a way to really do things maybe more consistently for everybody, and more depending on the types of enterprises, and depending on types of problems. Maybe there is a way to really streamline all this disaster response, and especially as we realize that this was first pandemic of our times, but unfortunately probably not the last one. So we really need to find a more systemic approach to that, to manage that.
Absolutely. Looks like both of you kind of spot something, right? A sense of urgency to tackle some challenges that was born because of the pandemic, or in general. Now it's time to really taking it seriously. So definitely the focus is around ESG and sustainability. Before we talk about it, how would you define the term ESG and sustainability, and why are these two things so critical to business resilience? Manuel?
Sure. ESG is actually a clear acronym. It stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance. It came out of United Nations Protocol. And at the beginning and until actually now, it's considered a non-financial reporting mechanism. That means that the companies have to report also on their financial performance, annual and quarterly reports. Sustainability came from a different concept, which was called the triple bottom line, which started with financials, recognizing that the financials are very important in achieving also sustainable goals in social for the shareholders on the financial side, and for the stakeholders on both sides, the customers and the communities they operate. And to finish, it also included the environmental. And we hear, in this context, we hear a lot about the carbon dioxide emissions. We hear about greenhouse gases. So the two terms are overlap. Many times the industry uses them together. However, it's an overlap. It's not a perfect match between the two terms.
Okay, that's clear. And what do you think, Anatoli?
Well, so maybe extending a little bit on first what we were talking about before. So as we said that we started from COVID, when the pandemic started, but then so we understand, again, we looked at all this aggregation of data, and this is where the terminology of actionable data came from, because we understood that there is a lot of data, and what's important is that someone will convert data into an action. So we looked through a lot of different approaches, and and then it was not the instant revelation. Manuel actually did a lot of heavy lifting and trying to understand how we can deal with data, and what are the data sets which exist, and what are the common approaches. And then this is where he came across the ESG concept, which is now, if you look around, ESG is literally everywhere, and it's in all of the reporting, all of the companies, any large businesses for sure, medium, etc., maybe even small businesses, all report. There are all sorts of reporting on the ESG, and so it's an important metrics because it combines together a lot of different items, such as the environmental aspect of ESG is very important. We're all very much concerned what's ahead for this planet, and how to maintain this planet for the future generations. So environmental aspect is very important, but obviously sustainability, Manuel already mentioned that sustainability goes across like the range of industries. It doesn't matter. You start from agricultural products, but you finish with high-tech aviation and so on. Sustainability simply means how do you really continue maintaining your business in a ways that if it works today, you taking steps to taking into account different elements which are important in ensuring that this same business can continue successfully without harming environment, without harming people, and so on, can continue. And then obviously the societal and governance, the people are very important aspect of all this. So it's important to take care of the environment, but it's also very important to take care of the people and make sure people are happy with what they do, the well-being and everything else. So there is a lot of important items which go into ESG, and then from here on, it is again the ESG. There is a lot of companies report on what their practices are in the space of managing the environmental impact and societal impact, how the companies are governed, and so on and so on. So they produce a lot of data. So this is perfectly aligns what we set out to do: take all this data and been able to lead to an action on all this data.
More insightful.
And
result.
I'd like to add really quickly, but the actionable part came from Anatoli, so he pushed me from dreaming about data to making it into something that really companies can use it.
More practical insights, right? Realistic, more actionable insights.
Correct. Right.
Absolutely. Yep. And of course, with this whole digital transformation wave, that definitely fit into this data game even more. And you guys definitely see the need to bridging this gap between the waves of digital transformation and the traditional model of ESG operations, right? So it's a relatively new topic for digital transformation. Even though it's been years, there's still no unified, definition. Like for different people, there are different conceptions or understandings. A lot of discussions around this topic. Both of you are very knowledgeable in this field. What are the most common misconceptions do you spot around this type of topics in terms of digital transformation?
Maybe I start. If you ask 100% of executives and board of directors and CFOs and in companies, and you ask them what is digital transformation, they will tell you digital technology.
Exactly.
Now, a much lower percentage will recognize the fact that this is digital and transformation, which is a process of the complete transformation of the industry or of their company, not only to introduce digital technologies, but to use them properly. And statistics, unfortunately, show that only about 30% succeed to even use them properly. 70% fail in economic terms, in financial terms. Yes. But digital transformation should include people's cultures transformation, people reskilling because they have to use these technologies. Of course, the governance needs to also include this transformation of culture and lead it and bring the proper direction. And last but not least, it leads also to business model changes. And we can just look maybe at the stock market as an indicator of how much money is flowing into digital transformation versus the rest of the industry.
Right. So I see the human side of it instead of just the technology. In short,
absolutely.
I'm excited about this part.
to,
I
to
can't
go
agree anymore.
to go back to ESG, Isabella, it includes all the three elements of ESG. It's about environment, it's about social and stakeholders, and of course, as I mentioned, it's about governance and changing the governance and upgrade the governance of companies to what Anatoli said, make them sustainable and resilient.
I agree. So, Anatoly, what's your idea when it comes to misconceptions on digital transformations? What do you don't agree with or you want to clarify?
Well, as Manuel said, it's very often not only there would be a different opinion from those 100 executives, but it's very often overlooked and not processed as digital transformation because it's in a lot of, well, we use different terminology and a lot of, for example, a popular term such as automation. This is
Automation.
it is so we automate today. We automate everything. And this is not necessarily, people don't necessarily consider that, right? So this is a digital transformation. Or when you, for example, the simplest example, when you move from a regular door lock to a keypad with maybe with the fingerprint, without fingerprint, doesn't matter.
Right.
This is digital transformation. So it's really it's really everywhere. When we move from how many companies use, especially when it comes to the call centers and so on, companies use all of the auto attendants and everything. So digital transformation is absolutely everywhere, and it changes. It's impactful. On one side, yes, there are monetary benefits, and it makes things easier for people and so on. At the same time, digital transformation, it increases the number of risks which now companies have to manage. And it's important to, so ESG in itself is effectively a risk. It's a measure of risk for maybe a different purpose. It's a measure of risk for I'm sure you heard of the ESG investment when you base your investment decisions based on ESG ratings and so on. So obviously, well, Manuel said it's not financial, but it has financial implications. So, but digital transformation is really, again, changes whatever risk management in ESG is. Now you need to, digital transformation really changes things around. It really brings in different things we need to worry about, and very often unexpectedly, right? Manuel, the colonial pipeline is one of our most the one which was hacked during the first half of 2021. This is one of our favorite examples when digital transformation is simply overlooked, not taken into account. So on one side, it's a great thing to make assets controlled and the performance and everything, the operations to control via the internet. But then if you don't secure it properly, the consequences are dire.
Cyber attack risk.
Yeah. Yes,
right?
is one of the aspects. Yes, is one of the aspects which digital transformation brings in, and therefore it's very important to be conscious and make conscious decisions and understand that what you're doing is actually digital transformation, which comes with its own set of risks.
Can you give another few examples about the potential risks besides cyber attack?
Oh, Manuel can give you 50.
Yeah, maybe a few more besides this cyber
Sure.
attack. And among all those, what are the top ones you can think of?
Well, cyber attacks are not all cyber attacks are the same. Some are first thing, there are state-governed cyber attacks. There is a suspicion that this Continental was actually initiated by unfriendly power right now in Ukraine. The other cyber attacks are ransomware, so they have a direct economic impact. Companies are first thing they lock their data, and then they ask for money in order to unlock the data, or they destroy completely the data of the companies. There are cyber attacks that are targeting and stealing the data. For instance, some years ago, there was an attack where all the personal information of government employees, some working undercover in different countries, was copied by another unfriendly power. So we have this. And to finish the idea on cyber attacks, there are a lot of cyber attacks which are coming from inside the company, and this is the link with the training and the stakeholders and the social aspect from employees that are mistreated by the company, and they decide to corrupt or to attack or to steal the data of the company, to simply lack of training, lack of cultural change, as you mentioned before, which is going back into digital transformation. So people simply do not know how to manipulate the security and to trigger the security. And as Anatoli said, we can create a long list for the next 2 hours of this kind of examples.
That's where you guys coming in, right? There's all these kind of unseen potential risks out there, people aren't even aware of. I like how Anatoli says, not consciously aware of. People need to be more conscious about that. Like everything you guys were talking kind of cover part of my next question, but I still wanted to ask you, both of you, how do you envision technology, the digitalization, digital transformation, how do you envision them playing a role in the whole ESG development? Start with Anatoli.
You like to mix things around. Okay, sure. So it is. So as we said, ESG is operates on a set of metrics. One of the challenges is that there are way too many metrics available, and they do not reconcile necessarily. And there are all sorts of rating agencies, and when one rating agency says 50, and another rating agency says A+, it's very difficult to reconcile between those and so on. But that's like one issue. But the thing which needs to be done is that now, as we said, that digital transformation acts as an amplifier. It multiplies whatever happens with no matter how we measure ESGs and so on, we need to add like this another dimension of digital transformation, and now we need to take this all together. So it's not enough to pay attention to environmental, social, and governance. We need to be able to assess the impact of digital transformation on all of those elements, because they are all impacted. The digital transformation will change the effects on the environment. It will change how everything is governed. Think about privacy laws, for example, and privacy protections, and so on and so on. And obviously societal. There are societal consequences to the digital transformation. So there is. It all needs to be taken together, not in the silos, because then we don't see the impact.
Absolutely.
If I may add, actually, we also wrote a couple of contributions from AKFI to groups such as IOSCO, which is the umbrella organization for the national regulators, like the Security and Exchange Commission in the US, European Commissions, and so on. And what we notice is the way they approach data and digital transformation is I'll use the term naive, because they refer to AI like a magic bullet, but AI requires a significant amount of data. It requires to be standardized, the data set, or at least understood. And that was completely absent from the perspective that these regulators are putting in place. So they want to regulate using AI and ESG. And as Anatoli had mentioned, there is already a disparity or a lack of coordination between different values they allocate to companies. And now if you use data just from the companies, it's predictable that we say in data analytics, garbage in, garbage out. It is predictable that if you don't have a clear set of data in the input, there is no chance to get a good ESG rating consistently across industries and consistently across countries. So you're missing the impact really on the environment and social.
Wow, it almost sounds like to me, if you don't integrate the digital factor in there, you're almost doomed to fail, whatever ESG assessment you're working on, right? It's on the.
Let me give you an example. If you count how many times the term environment, social, and governance is in a 50-page report, and you find there are 80 times mentioned, it doesn't mean that the report provides a good base to say this company has a high ESG rating. You can probably claim they have a very good marketing department.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for both of you for the great insights. You both know how I'm interested in this topic, so I'm really enjoying your forward-thinking approach and really to see what is missing and what's not working anymore. And to wrap up our conversation today, we can end it with maybe a few quick pieces of advice or tips for those companies who look for sustainability, longevity, especially in this fast transitioning, changing digital dynamic. So, Manuel, what's your advice to them?
Well, the first one is to talk to everybody, to talk to authors and upcoming authors like yourself. So we need to get the word out. We need to really help board of directors, executives in these companies to first assess the size of the action they need to take. They have the knowledge, but this knowledge is latent. It's there. It's spread across the companies. It doesn't percolate up to the board of directors and to the advisors. So this is one of the reasons we're looking at the AKFI as being a platform for companies to meet, exchange information, and more importantly, very quickly, as you said at the beginning of the interview, put this knowledge into actionable plans. We know that in planning we can spend years and years, but there is no time to spend this kind of years on the environment, on the sustainability, on the longevity of these companies. And there are many examples. I'll bring really quickly one of Ford company that failed and spent about $11 billion in a failed digital transformation project. Not to say that the CEO was invited to, leave the company after spent so much money and failed. And they came back in full force, investing in digital transformation, investing in ESG and sustainability. And it's one of the first companies creating a sustainable annual report, which includes the financials, includes the ESG, includes the sustainability and the digitalization in one report. So there is a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, in a very limited amount of
join
time.
us.
Yes,
Right.
very urgency. And please, Anatoli, what's your advice on top of this?
So the important, yes, to extend what Manuel said, it's important to find a way to build this common space, and this is where AKFI really, what we're trying to do here is to offer a platform for all the companies to simply get together, work together, and really find those best practices and find the right ways to measure, which will work across the industries. It's not going to be all the same for everybody. Each industry has its own specifics, and environmental is, for example, is very different in the aviation versus environmental impacts versus software development. That's a given. But nevertheless, there is a lot of data which needs to be processed properly, taken into account all the different variations and so on, and the important thing is to really get together with the other companies and work on building those common practices, common approaches, and then moving them forward. So when things are measured, they're at least measured on the same scale and with the same impact. So this is, and that's what we offer. That's the platform which we offer. For everyone to join and build it's digital transformation is here to stay. ESG is here to stay. We just need to learn to do it all right, to do it properly, and to work together to really ensure the future.
Love it. Love it. We have this urgent need, and we want to work on this together because none of us can figure it out by ourselves. It's very important to surround yourself with the right people. And everyone, of course, if you want to get new perspectives and develop strategies, as we mentioned, plan actionable plans by integrating ESG and digital transformation for risks mitigation and value creation. Be sure to continue following us and tuning in at our upcoming Actionable ESG Talk Series. And we've talked quite a bit today. Really enjoyed the conversation. And thank you all for tuning in and joining us, spend the time with us. Please take care, and we'll see you all at the next one. Thank you, Manuel and Anatoli.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.